Alright, let's talk about something that's both heartwarming and game-changing for anyone who's ever missed out on a cinnamon scroll because of gluten intolerance. I recently came across the story of Freed, me gluten-free artisan bakery, and honestly, it's one of those tales that makes you go, why didn't someone think of this sooner? But here's the thing, it's not just about the bakery, it's about the passion, persistence, and the deeper impact it's having on a community. So let's dive in. First off, what makes this story so compelling is the personal drive behind it. Chef Laura Guevara Converse started this whole thing because her partner, who's gluten intolerant, was missing out on the simple joy of bread. I mean, think about it. Bread is such a staple, such a comfort food, and yet, for so many people, it's off-limits. Laura's partner, being Irish, grew up with soda bread and all those hearty, carb-loaded delights. But gluten intolerance turned that into a no-go zone. What's really interesting here is how Laura didn't just accept that. She decided to tackle the problem head-on, and that's where the magic began. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. Gluten-free baking is no walk in the park. Anyone who's tried it knows it's a science, as much as an art. Laura's first attempt at gluten-free bread failed, but instead of giving up, she doubled down. Personally, I think this is where the story shifts from being just about a bakery to being about resilience and innovation. She didn't just want to make bread. She wanted to make bread that felt like the real deal. And that's a huge challenge because, let's be honest, a lot of gluten-free bread out there is either dry, crumbly, or just plain disappointing. What many people don't realize is how much experimentation goes into perfecting gluten-free recipes. Laura uses a mix of flours like corn, buckwheat, and tapioca to get the right texture. This isn't just throwing ingredients together, it's about understanding the chemistry of baking. And that's what sets Freed me apart. It's not just a bakery, it's a labor of love backed by serious skill. I find it fascinating how she's managed to create something that's not just edible but genuinely enjoyable, something that people with celiac disease or gluten intolerance can actually look forward to. Another detail I find really interesting is how Laura's business evolved. She started small, supplying a few health shops and grocers, then expanded into pastries and cakes. But the real turning point was when she opened her own space in Gungahlin. This wasn't just about having more room, it was about creating a safe haven. Her bakery is 100% gluten-free, which means no risk of cross-contamination. For someone with celiac disease, that's huge. It's not just about the food, it's about the peace of mind. And the fact that she's also offering dairy-free, nut-free, and vegan options? That's next-level inclusivity. The response has been overwhelming. When she opened the cafe on Saturdays, there were queues out the door. Chaos, yes, but also a testament to how much this was needed. I think what this really suggests is that there's a massive demand for high-quality, gluten-free options, and Laura's tapped into something bigger than just a bakery. She's created a community hub where people can feel seen and catered to. And that's powerful. Now, let's talk about the cinnamon scrolls. These have been a standout hit, and it's easy to see why. Cinnamon scrolls are one of those treats that are hard to find in gluten-free form. Laura's customers have been telling her it's the first time they've enjoyed one since their diagnosis. If you take a step back and think about it, that's huge. It's not just about the food. It's about reclaiming a piece of normalcy, a piece of joy. And that's what makes this story so impactful. From my perspective, Freed me is more than a bakery, it's a movement. It's about challenging the status quo and proving that gluten-free doesn't have to mean compromise. Laura's persistence, her focus on quality, and her commitment to inclusivity are what set her apart. And honestly, I think this is just the beginning. With plans to expand hours and eventually bring her products to the South Side, she's clearly just getting started. So here's my closing thought. What if more businesses approached challenges like Laura did? What if more people saw a problem and decided to solve it, not just for themselves, but for an entire community? Freed me isn't just a bakery. It's a reminder of what's possible when passion meets purpose. And that, my friends, is something worth celebrating. If you're ever in Canberra, make sure to check it out, not just for the cinnamon scrolls, but for the story behind them. Trust me, it's worth it.